Hi, everyone. This is Vicente Cruz, Oakland Greens Event and Fundraising Coordinator, and it is our June public general meeting, not July, as the email might have said on the copy paste. So we start out with reviewing the agenda, introductions after, which will be needed. We have people who are new people, first time to meeting. Goes events for 2025, suggestions, virtual town halls, AI forum, county council report back, Treasury report back, and social media. There was an IG rant conversation that I got into that we'll talk about, outreach, announcements, and then adjourn. Again, I don't feel like it will be take all that long. Is there anything that needs to be added to the agenda? Hearing none. I'm going to go ahead and start with introductions. Again, my name is Vicente Cruz. I have been the event and fundraising coordinator, I guess, and treasurer too for the Oakland Greens for the past 5 years. I kind of produce all of the events. I bring the suggestions to the group and we vote on them and see more. And then Orlando, please introduce yourself, and I'm just going to go around my list.
Orlando Johnson, Oakland Greens, Green Party County Council, Green Party Credential. I have Brother Fabian and Chaz Walker. I was telling them about the Green Party, and they got some interesting, but I told them it's a protocol. So I invited them to come out here tonight to share their wisdom and see if we can all work together. Oh,
Dale, please. Oh, you got
Yes, my name is Dale Baum, and good evening to everyone.
Greg.
Hi, it's Greg Jan. Besides Oakland Greens, I'm also active in the county party and the state party.
Okay. It's Chad Walker. Yeah, have any background you want to share?
Yes. First of all, I really appreciate the opportunity to listen into this meeting. My name is Chaz Walker. I'm been in Oakland about 31 years. I'm a consultant, a coach, and a philanthropist. Just happy to support this effort to improve our community and unite us as one progressive force. Thank you.
And then next, it only has iPhone for me, if you want to give us anything you want to share.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Fabian Robinson from Oakland, California. I'm running for city council at large. Good to meet everybody, and God bless you.
Oh, nice. Well, cool candidates. I like that too. So I'm going to go ahead and add stuff onto it. But again, showing people just want to kind of also see how we do things. I'll start with the agenda, and after county council report back, we'll go and dive more into especially the candidacy. So for events 2025, let me go ahead and so at least I can see my screen. So far, let's go ahead and admit that 2024, my choices is not our best season. So I'm looking this year for us to come up with more suggestions from outside, and I am more than happy to always, produce everything. But as far as like what the topics are, I'm really looking for more suggestions. But even though we were saying, we were not going to do any, I think that the 3 alternative politics, the education, which is tomorrow, which we're going to do anyway, no matter if no one comes. Like, if anything else, I'll rant for 15 minutes on why the fuck we should have better education and why it's in everyone's best interest. And we'll get more into also, I think, on outreach when I want to talk about why we're not more having in-your-face politics. I'm going to beat that dead Klansman again. So have the alternative politics, the education, and then I think at least next year, I would like to do linguistics again and have the topic specifically for linguistics be about how whiteness doesn't really exist and how that was created and the detriment of how that falls into racism and prejudice and the effects on people too. So again, we don't have to, it's not a deep dive this time, but definitely for the next coming months, or if anyone, even the new folks, have any suggestions on what a topic that the public can have, just a public forum, what would be important. We've covered everything from ending capitalism to environment. You can also go to, which will be a shameless plug, www.oaklandgreens.org, and you can see our past town halls and virtual town halls, how it started during the pandemic, and our movie nights and things and the topics that we come on. So, so for the Oakland Greens, next month, definitely, you know, come up, think of some things that you would want to discuss, if that. And then that also ties into movie nights. Movies, right now I have 3 as well, which I actually have trailers. And after the discussion portion, I can show them to us too. One is The Zone of Interest. Another one is Silverado, which I think is the best Western past or present that was ever made. And then actually going back to our first year again, 500 Years Later is the movies. So I open up to questions, discussion, anything else, and then I'll show the trailer. No? Yes, Greg.
Yes, so, you know, I don't think it's necessarily the topics, but I should say that the county Green Sundays have also had low attendance for, I think, pretty much this whole year and maybe even part of last year. And I think what's happening is, you know, people are getting into the sense that we don't really have much of a pandemic in terms of limiting people's going out to events anymore. And so I think more and more people are just wanting to go to in-person events, and any kind of discussion thing, especially if it's online, has to be really, really interesting. So I think it's not really the topic, but the way it's put out. In other words, the write-up, your publicity, the write-up, and maybe even the image, the visual image of the blurb. So in terms of the text, though, I mean, you know, I sometimes do a little bit of cleanup on the text, but I don't do anything major. And it might help for the next round of stuff if the descriptions, if we all had a chance to help improve the descriptions early enough in advance, that way maybe they would be a little more, you know, enticing, you know, interesting to people, to get people, especially if it's going to be something online. More and more people are just going out in person, so online stuff has to be really attractive these days, I think. That's my take.
Well, I think because one of the reasons that we went straight virtual this year is because no one was coming to the discussion groups. The reason and how it all started was because that every time we go to these major events, where you'd have these big name speakers, you know, Cornel West or Rosa or something, and it comes to the Q&A part, no one's asking questions. Everybody was just giving speeches. And so we hypothesized that people just wanted to be heard and didn't feel like they were heard. So we came up with this one where, oh, that's all you have to do is talk. There isn't, I mean, of course, sometimes we have people who are, you know, obviously well-versed in whatever the topic is. But one of the reasons we stopped doing it this year again is because people weren't showing. And as far as like the write-ups and all that, please take it off my hands. I don't want to do it. The only reason that it happens that way is because I'm the only one that was doing it. So I am more than happy. Usually the full pages, so you know, the Word document goes out, you know, usually the month before we start advertising. So everyone has at least 30 days to look at it, and I'll take any changes, or you just write it up and I'll copy paste it. I love copy paste. Copy paste is really cool for me. The imagery, again, someone would have to take that over. I will stand by my image. I'm sorry that so much of it is like in your face, and it's a lot of fuck you to the fact that we don't participate, right? The voter turnout extremely low. Everybody wants to fucking complain, but you're not going to go out and actually become the council or like actually have candidates or run for office yourself or find the candidates. It's the same thing that Oakland Green's been talking about for years and years and years, right? The same thing, the only real beef we ever had with the county was over the open enrollment, right? That was the only thing. So yes, I still agree people want to go out in person. I still think this year our topics weren't what it was because, you know, again, the food, because we always have food at events when people come, they come, you know, people want to come. I just think it wasn't what people were into this year, you know, and you can't have it every year. Or also because, you know, this is also like I do events that, you know, that helps do the capitalism part of paying bills, navigating that corrupt system. Everybody's going out, so tons and tons of people are doing events. So everybody's trying for that same amount of clients or guests to come to your event, you know, at the same time. So, but I still think next year, you know, we do something big, but still have a couple of three, and we can do them, you know, in person if, you know, if we have that, and definitely the movie nights as well. Again, have not been getting a lot of traction either this year. I think I still think it is because we're doing the animated series, and even for this one, which is something that the only action item under this particular item agenda item is whether or not we do the movie night with only one, you know, person registered for it, you know, things like that too. So I think it's, yeah, I think it's a little more. Any other questions? All right, you see none, so just remember, next month we'll get more dive into it and come up with suggestions that we can see. And now, hold on, let me share my screen again. And yep, share sound. These are this is the trailer for 500 Years Later.
You can't pay me back. You can't pay me back for that missed opportunity.
It's foolish to let your oppressor tell you that you should forget about the oppression that they inflicted on you.
And everyone else has gotten like money for all the wrongs that were done against them, but you know, somehow black people are like, you know, immune from litigation.
To be African means to own my connection with my history without apology.
Songs we would never hear, histories we would never know, art we would never see, because the European had the capacity to destroy and didn't have the moral restraint not to.
Just like there was a process to make a slave and the process to make a colonial African, there has to be another process to remake the African slave in the African colonial mind.
And many of us think that we're emancipated. You know, but we're not emancipated. Our actions are determined by the mental prison walls that we continue to inherit. And unless we begin to understand where we're coming from, what we have been, where we have gone, what has happened to us, we're in no position to change our condition.
And this is the trailer for Zone of Interest.
Das ist ja wunderschön. Ja, die Azaleen da. Hier gibt es auch Gemüse. Bisschen Kräuter, auch Rosmarin. Hier ist rote Beete. Das ist Fenchel. Die Sonnenblumen, ja. Und hier ist der Kohlrabi. Die Kinder essen wahnsinnig viel Kohlrabi.
Die herrliche Zeit, die wir im gastlichen Haus verlebten, wird immer mit zu unseren schönsten Urlaubserinnerungen gehören. Im Osten steht unser Morgen. Herzlichen Dank für eure nationalsozialistische Gastfreundschaft. Heil Hitler. Heil Hitler.
Here we go. So those are, if you didn't guess that beautiful setting, and then behind it was a concentration camp. Pretty interesting. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, that 500 years is heavy.
Yeah, that's an incredible movie. So what I'd like to do now, we kind of started, and then there's things to come back to, but for the interest of new members, especially the candidate, I'd like to start before the county council report back. And if you could just give us a introduction of what your campaign is, your platform is, and then if they don't have questions, I definitely will. Please. You gotta unmute, sorry, yeah.
How are you doing? My name is Pastor Fabian Robinson, born and raised in Oakland, California. Matter of fact, it's a coincidence because Chaz Walker worked at Westlake in Emory High, and he was my mentor, still is my mentor. One of my plans for Oakland, Oakland has a lot of problems. And one of my plans for Oakland is to try to help homeless, and I don't know what the Greens, how we'll solve the problem together. But mine is every resource we can get, we need to use it. Every resource, even if it's going to the county and having them take some money out of somebody's Social Security, whatever we got to do something for the homelessness. And just ask questions. Ask questions if you want to.
Okay, I'm always a step forward, so let me start. Anyone else have candidate questions? Go ahead, Orlando first, please. Yes.
Brother Fabian.
Yes, sir.
Candidate, what kind of work have you been doing? What work has you been doing in the community? And how many people have you actually been helping in the community doing your journey of doing this work?
Okay, I've helped over thousands of people. I do something called a free guard card class, where we get people from the community get a class, and what it gives people opportunity to get good jobs. Security paying $25 to $30, and that's a living wage. And we done had thousands of people. I even got pictures that we got thousands of people that come, and we're gonna be doing another one on July 27th. And I feed every week. I feed the hungry every week. We clothe the hungry every week. Today I was with Sister Tina Robinson, and what we did, it's on our own truth, where we helped the women that been beat, with domestic violence, and she helped with COVID and different things. And we had a big turnout right in West Oakland, and it was all kind of different colors and different people that I think, and I talked to a couple of them, and they say, we don't really like the Republicans, we don't really like the Democrats, we independent, but we might go green, because I've been kind of, I've been interested in green. The reason why I'm interested in green, because green to me, it feels like I'm not gonna use you. I'm not gonna use you, then throw you away. It feels like that the greens stick together. But a lot of people, what they do with the greens, I see, they use the greens and then they throw them away, or to try to be a Democrat or a Republican.
And my last question is, and I know this question is going to come up if you come to the county council around the situation where we are supporting Pamela Price in the Protect the Wind, and allegedly there was some controversy around that surrounding you. Can you address to the Greens the situation?
Well, I started with a woman. She had me help LaRon Armstrong. Her name was Brenda Grisham.
You don't have to say names, but
okay. Well, anyway, so what happened was that I was helping LaRon Armstrong, and she said, "Oh, I need you to come over here to the Jasper Wu thing," and she painted a picture of Pamela Price as this evil lady who lets all murderers out of jail when Santa Rita's is empty, and she just painted her as an ugly picture. And what I did, I dealt with people who have lost loved ones. Even Chas Walker came to my church and spoke one time about losing his children. And I said, this woman is letting killers out of jail, and stuff, and it just took me. And then I had a judgment on her, but I didn't know what she was doing. Now take this. She was only in office for 2 or 3 months. She didn't even get a chance. Now, when you see what Pamela Price is doing, you see the murder rate in Oakland is down, robberies are down. You know what I mean? And she helped felons clean their records with the what's that, the Clean Slate Act. Pamela Price been doing an excellent job for the community, and I stand with Pamela Price, and I get up and speak with Pamela Price, and she asks about me all the time. And that's why we got pictures at the Baptist Union. They want to know that was last year in August, and that's everybody was really hot with Pamela. And I said, what you gonna get better than Pamela Price? Somebody who will help your family, somebody who don't want your family in jail every day, all day, because the next person you're gonna get in, your family will never be able to get out of jail. So I do stand with Pamela Price, and I do stand for Pamela Price, and I will go out in this election and tell people, but don't recall Pamela Price, because I've been standing.
Okay. Oh, that's the last question.
Okay. Anyone else have candidate questions? Really? I was going to say, Greg.
Yeah, I could have one. Yeah, my question is about the Oakland city budget. I'm just wondering if you know much about the city budget, and if not, whether you have anybody that you can check in with to study about how the budget works and what kind of priorities you could, move around in the city budget.
Oh yeah. I go to council meetings. So I do know about the city budget, and I do know that they always cut the small person. Well, my plan is I want to help the small guy. I want to help the person that's out there doing violent prevention. Now, how in Oakland that they cut violent prevention? How? This city is violent, and they cut violent prevention out of everything else they can cut. I want to be able to help people where we can walk through a clean, safe Oakland, period. And if you got local people going out there on the front lines, putting their lives on the line for to help people, we don't need to cut their jobs or cut their grants. We need to continue to pay them and continue to help them.
Okay, well, it's my understanding that the city of Oakland budget, a lot of the money goes to the police, and it'd be good to find out exactly how much and how much you think it could get cut and all that stuff. So
and the thing about it, a lot of it goes to the pension and the overtime.
Yeah, because there's going to be a bunch of debates, and when you get in these debates, they're almost always have these questions about the budget. So if you can come up with a number and say, so much money is spent on the police, and we can cut it this much and all that. So
okay, 100%. And I think a bad word is defund the police. I think that's a bad word when you trying to run a political campaign in Oakland. But I do believe we need to defund the police and have more experienced experts, like people that have experience on mental health, go out and help people instead of always locking somebody up. Why you gonna lock up a man that really don't know what's going on? He needs mental health. He needs somebody to talk to, but they just lock him up, and we don't need to lock everybody up.
Go ahead, Orlando. Yes, please.
Yes, did you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay, and I think basically why Greg was asking that question, so if you need help in those areas and support, and we decide to, support and get around you, basically using the language of the
Green.
339 million is going to the police department, and then half of that is getting breakdown to the city. Then how did the city administration use the finance to connect to the mayor, connects to the city, and so forth. So understanding the city charter, understanding the rules and regulations, the attorney laws and regulations, and basically Gregson in a nutshell, you need help and support in that area. You don't have to think and figure it out. Just reach out for support.
And what I basically want to do, and if y'all say I'm with the green, we go together, we have a meeting, and we come to a conclusion, and I preach the gospel of what the green, what we all agree with. I ain't gonna be like some people like a rogue. If we say we all gonna come together and this is what we think, and this what would be better for the Greens, then I'm with you. Because I do believe, as being somebody who influential in the community and know a whole lot of people, different colors, and been on the news, and newscasters always call me and stuff. I do believe that when I speak, people listen, and I do believe that we're gonna be able to grow this Green Party, where we don't have to worry about only 2 or 3 of us on here, because they say, oh, they helped out this pastor, and we would hit, same thing will happen with Republicans and Democrats with Martin Luther King. The Republicans, blacks was Republicans, and they didn't help Martin Luther King, and then guess what? All the blacks went to the Democrats. So what I'm saying is you're gonna have a lot of people turn green, a lot of people. And I can promise you that. And then I would be out there trying to sign up the young 18-year-old person who believe the same thing that we believe. And it's a whole lot of young people who don't believe in the Democratic policy and the Republican policy, and they want an alternative. And I believe we are the right alternative.
Any other questions? No, I'll go. So according to just, Internet Encyclopedia, the Oakland police budget is 353 million last year.
Mm-hmm.
The city budget is 117 million with 175 million in debt. So 300 and 400 and some odd. So that's at least 60% of the city's budget going to police. That's just off the top of my head. That's not an exact number, but so for us Greens too, even when we ask these questions, like we have encyclopedias, we can Google that shit fucking right off the bat and could have came with that. So I have some questions about that too. So could a platform, and you would have to, hopefully you have staff of people with you, but discussing this is for whatever the city budget is, say the police budget, hell or fucking high water, right? We're only going to spend 25% of the city budget on police.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that means like, okay, well, all of you are going to not be able to live in Walnut Creek. You're going to have to stop your dirty way. Like, there's so much that would have to happen for that. But that is a discussion that you could have. And if you also have another person, because one person, even if you got elected, you probably wouldn't get any of your possible progressive policies even on the floor, because you'd have no one to second them.
Mm-hmm.
Right, on the city council. I think you kind of need a slate in order to do it. And I would think that was kind of the Oakland Greens policy on how to make significant change. But so that would be my own too. And then taking the money that you're not spending on police, and now you can put and the question would be, would you treat the housing crisis and the drug addiction crisis as a health issue, or do you see that as a criminal issue?
I see it as a health issue. I know it's a health issue. I know it's a health issue. Of somebody who was a good-looking, dress-up well person. Next thing you know, they're dirty and they can't even smell themselves. That's mental crisis. You know what I mean? That is you see it every day, and it hurts. And I work with them every day because I'm a pastor and I feed them. You know, they come to the church and hey, Pastor Robinson, you know, and they can't look in the mirror and and recognize, that their life has went down and their life is nothing but drugs, and that's a mental problem. That's a mental problem. And one thing what we got to do, and I think that would help a lot because we run it against LaRon Armstrong. If we pull up this budget and say, hey, this guy's out here, all we out here for is for to raise the pension. And that's how I'm gonna fight. That's all that got. Listen, what would a police chief, and you know how the Oakland police work, they all stick together. And when LaRon Armstrong say, hey, let's put some more money on the pension, everybody gonna be scared of him. Everybody gonna be scared of him. And everybody gonna go for what he said. And guess what? It's gonna be 400 million or it's gonna be 600. It's just gonna go up. And we pay all that money for the police. So what I'm saying, that would be a good tactical tool for the use. And it may help. Just that tool right there, running a candidacy, using them numbers. It may help. And from knocking on doors and from talking to people, a lot of people, don't feel too good about LaRon Armstrong because the community wasn't that safe when he was there.
It's true, but I think what you're fighting against is even the people that, in fact, I would debate and argue that statistically, the people who are complaining the most are not going to go out and vote. And that is one of the largest uphill battles that many candidates face, that we don't participate. Like it was even worse this year. I think it was less than 30%, maybe even less than 20% of people came out for primary voters. So the people that are voting are going to stay with that kind of corporate Democrat, for lack of a better label, right? So again, it's an uphill battle. You're going to need a huge, huge staff to do it. I would actually, something that we thought of at rallies, I would go to every one of these Palestinian rallies and go, well, you know what? Put your money where your mouth is. I'm running for office. Here's my fucking policies. Now help me get fucking elected. And I'm atheist, so I don't know if you can say
no,
I
don't care.
Find somebody who can also run with you in another district, so you have someone at least to second anything you're going to put forth for debate or to be voted on by city council. You have to have the second.
Yep.
Yeah.
If I win city council at large, Shane Tao will be recalled. That's without a doubt. I don't know Pamela Price, I don't think so, but Shane Tao will be recalled. If I win city council at large, that means that the next mayor of Oakland would be a Green Party candidate. And it'll be me, because that's what LaRon Armstrong running for. And that's what everybody, they know whoever win this position is in line to be the next mayor.
Well, Greg can speak in Orlando too for the county and state and national, but me personally, again, speaking for Oakland, I'm not a fan of recalls in any form. It's like, really,
me neither.
You should have fucking voted the first time. And we wouldn't have to do this bullshit.
I'm gonna fight for her. I'm gonna fight for her. Me neither. I'm not, but I'm saying, if you look at it, she only been there for 1 year, and you can't judge nobody in that. And Oakland's more safer this year.
Well, and for me, again, they are not as radical as they could be, but the problem is that they are, have some very progressive ideas, and that corporations don't like that, right? Because it's taking their money, their profits, and they know, especially when it comes to alternative, not just Green Party, but alternative political party. I support the Greens because I think they're the strongest. But that what it means to them is that you're not going to get your bonuses. I'm sorry, that money's going to go to the workers, and you can't have that. Anyway. So I actually have more questions too. I want to see. Do you support the separation? I would love to hear your ideas on your faith versus your candidacy.
Let me tell you something. My faith, you have a lot of bigots. You have a lot of hateful people who tell you if you're gay, you're going to They even got scripture in the Bible that say about slavery. And if you want to find a whole lot of hate scriptures, you can find them in the Bible. That's probably why you hate them. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, how could you tell a little bitty boy that he's gonna go to hell and he ain't hurt nobody? He ain't doing nothing wrong. All he doing is loving the person who he want to love. Come on. And I say this, if God is a God of hate, then I don't serve that God. You know what I mean? So when it comes between me and somebody, even with weed, hey, it's legal. That don't bother me. What bothers me is that the little kid that's not eating outside and the homeless man. That what bothers me. Not what you do in your bedroom. Not what you do in your bedroom. And I believe if you get somebody coming out there saying things like this, that we don't care who you sleep with, and because Oakland is really liberal now. Oakland is really liberal, and Oakland, it's a beautiful place. But what they want safety. They want safety. They don't want to go outside. You know what the biggest problem in Oakland is? It's a smash and grab.
Clean streets, clean water, clean air.
No, I'm saying, but that is. I'm saying, with the biggest right now, if you ask somebody, no, it is. But if you ask somebody, say, what's the biggest problem right now? If you ask somebody if it's clean water, or clean air, or somebody's window getting broke and taking out everything in their car, what you think they'll say?
Oh, I'm sure they would start out with that. You also know there's an independent study. Actually, there's been two of them that cite that a lot of those are actually perpetrated by insurance companies, having people go out and do it. So then, so they're creating the need for more police. They're creating the need for more security. And there's tons and tons of militants. I mean, it's in Dead Prez songs of ways that they can someday declare martial law.
And then this what I believe, and it may be like some you might don't believe, but this is what I believe. I saw how the Megan's Law worked. If you go break somebody's car window, and they start putting you up on the signs and the billboard and let everybody know who you are, guess it was stopping Oakland. It would make Oakland safe, because you got to be accountable for if you do. This is not you smoking drugs we putting you on there. You over here trying to hurt people, and if you're breaking windows, pretty soon what will you be doing? You'd be carjacking.
I personally would ask, and please, everyone else, jump in if you want. I would want restorative justice. If that was the community decided for something like that, well, again, a nonviolent crime, but breaking and entering and all that. Okay, don't know if public shaming is the way. I think better to well, how do we have an opportunity? Oh, you like to smash glass. Okay, well, maybe your punishment is you have to finish a glass blowing class, and then you have to remake the window.
I can see that too.
Or something of that nature. That's just.
I can see that. I can see that. I can see that. I 100% agree. I 100% agree with that, because something got to happen.
And I know that it is definitely an Oakland Green Party idea that the reason that crime exists at all is because people just do not have opportunity.
They don't
put their best attributes to good use throughout the community and all that stuff too.
And one more thing that's in my plan is felons need to have Oakland jobs. A felon cannot get a job in Oakland. A felon need a job where he don't have to go back to the corner and go sell drugs, or he don't have to go rob. Where he can have a job where he's making $25 to $30 an hour. He can take care of his family.
I just saw a video on North Philly Down, and was started by an ex-convict, and he opened up a pizza parlor. And apparently the pizza's badass too, but hires only nonviolent offenders, and doesn't give a shit that they were in. And also the Oakland Greens have been supportive, and there's always been the buzz around the city too of banning the box, that you don't have to report whether you have, especially if you haven't done that. And we've been, I think, instrumental over the years in going out, and for those felons who are not actually B and C felonies, where once you're all done with probation, you actually get your vote back, making sure that they're informed that actually they can vote and participate. But let me rephrase, even my work in the streets too it doesn't even matter that they can vote. They've never felt like their vote would make
Counted.
any changes. They think it counts, but there's never anyone they really wanted to get behind. There's never been like a really mass movement. Not only is Oakland liberal, it's really been militant for a very long time. It's a very radical city within its history, going way, way back, even before the 60s, even with the labor movement and things like that too. So I think that it's been, and this is my own opinion, and it is much debated within the county council and even here in Oakland Greens too, is that the city is screaming for someone who's going to be in your fucking face politics and going, this is bullshit. Enough is a fucking enough. And actually be able to have those words and that passion and that anger. Like the whole idea too of angry black men, the only reason that I'm an angry black man is because my skin happens to have melanin, right? I could be fucking redheaded and fucking Irish. I'd still have my same fucking opinions and be like the same fucking thing, that the money, capitalism doesn't fucking work. We need to rethink how we shape our economy, education, again, mental, having a health system that supports everyone. Yeah. So I wish you well. And again, does anyone have any other questions?
And I want to say this before you, okay.
Oh, sure,
and the question would be, if I join the Green, because one thing that we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to knock on doors and do different things like that. Do we have anybody that help with knocking on doors? And
we do. I wouldn't say we do not. You might get 2 people. Unfortunately, again, also it's well documented already on videos and stuff like that. My complaints with us is that way back when I started, when I would say I was younger, I'm still not a young man, but younger. 2000, no, even 2010, we were still doing it. So probably 2006, 2007, when I first came in, I used to seriously joke if we didn't do more outreach and getting the next generations in, and it wasn't just me, it was actually Don was saying it way before I was. I just came in, was that second voice. Dale was a voice. Mike was a voice. Orlando was a voice. If we don't get that next generation, we're literally going to die off. And that is what is happening. Right now, what we suffer from is that we're all old, right? I am 60 and I am the youngest member. That is not a good sign, right? We have members that technology had passed them by. Right, they're not sufficiently to get into emails and navigate social media, which, for better or for worse, that is where everything is, right? The fucking ship has already sailed, the river has already shifted course, right? Same thing with artificial intelligence. So all this shit is already here, and if we don't figure out how to navigate this fucking corrupt system, the river will just swipe us away. So sadly, I don't think so. Anyone else have any other opinions on that? Please go ahead and share it. I don't, and I'll end with, but what you do get is a big social media presence, which that's probably, I would say, and that's the only thing that's been saving us, is the being on social media and movie nights, and then more of the underground local outreach that we do. But sadly, and then, and also lastly, the other thing that they do offer, which is really good, is the voter guide reaches, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people. The voter guides do get out on a regular basis. We have managed to be really consistent with that.
Because I got the black church vote. I got a lot of black vote. If I can move into getting more of the white vote with ranked choice, we gonna win this race, because they thought gonna win the race at the beginning of the race, and then LaRon Armstrong jumped in. They're like, oh, this guy, because they know how much I do in the community, and all the churches and all the blacks around. They was just kind of fired up, and then LaRon come in. So and I thought he's gonna run for mayor. I thought he's gonna run for mayor. So
for the recording that will go up on YouTube after, and again, you can find that. This is a plug moment. Find that on YouTube at Oakland Greens. Oakland Green Party, sorry, YouTube.
Okay.
But it'll link it through oaklandgreens.org. My advice for you for getting the people of European ancestry in Oakland and those the people who would consider themselves progressive is on the Israel, not Free Palestine and wanting to not have Oakland, having Oakland divest from any sort and just being condemning of any sort of genocide. That's where you'll probably win their vote. They're not, people aren't going up into their homes and smashing their windows, right? Yeah. Do you have a staff? Do you have a treasurer? Do you have some campaign manager?
This is my first. This is my first election. I'm doing everything. I'm doing everything on my own, and that's it.
You're not going to be able to do it, and not expect to at least not even get right. So even if
I'm on the ballot.
Yeah, so you did your paperwork already?
My paperwork already did. Paperwork already did. I'm already on the ballot. Go look. I'm already on the ballot.
Yeah,
now, I can do it. Trust me, I can do it. Anybody can run a church. Anybody can run a church. Anybody can run a church. I know.
Yeah. The fighting the corporate money that is going to come from outside of the city and outside of the state. Yeah,
you know what?
I've ran for office 3 times. I've had successful campaigns as a campaign manager, not successful campaigns. Orlando, can you do it alone? You can't do it alone.
You can't do it alone. You can't do nothing.
This what Vicente is trying to say in a nutshell. Once you start moving and getting out there and precinct walking, the movement will gather around you. But us for doing this so long, like you were saying, we had hundreds of people run through us, thousands of what we going to do, how we going to do it, and then when it gets down to it, they get the results.
Right.
So
because you can't keep up with the paperwork, and you're going to need to be going to hopefully 2 or 3 events an evening. Hopefully they'll have some sort of debate. If not, I would be pushing for a debate. You need someone who's going to navigate a Twitter account, or X as they're calling it now, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, Oakland Greens are just above water, and again, it's only because I'm on social media, and it's just really, really difficult.
Well, I believe this is what I believe.
One second, Fabian. 1 second. We got you what he's saying. Just let your work speak for itself.
Mm-hmm.
We got you.
Well, what I believe with a little bit of help, I believe that just take us overboard. That's all. That's all I believe. A little bit of help. That's what I believe. A little bit of help, we could win. That's what I believe. Just a little bit.
Luckily, just like in the NBA Finals, right, there will be an election, and we'll see. I'm like, I
just a little bit of help.
Hopefully, you'll come back again, and because again, we do get, I would say, modest views on YouTube and stuff. So you definitely can get your message out to people.
So what I'm trying to do is be a green candidate before the end of July, because July when everything starts. And as soon as possible, whenever y'all, whenever y'all get ready, you can read my bio and everything. I'm ready to go. And once I go, I know we're gonna win. We're not in here to lose.
On the process side too, so the county council, which is like the official connection to the Green Party, they actually will have a questionnaire that you'll get and get the endorsement. And of course, if you're a Green candidate, it's a lot easier to get that endorsement. There's a fairly easy process.
So do I need to go to the DMV or whatever for the change to green? Or
no? Oh yes, you have to register. Yeah, but you can do it online. You can do it online. I can put the link in the chat if you have access to the. I see you're on an iPhone though, but I can put it. Or Orlando, you can give them the link to voter registration. Do it on your phone online. And yes, Greg, you have something?
Well, I don't have it on me, but yeah, Secretary of State website. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm tell you, after this, I'm very impressed with y'all. I mean, numbers don't count. You know what I mean? We can do it. We can do it. David beat Goliath, and that's a Bible story. We could do it.
Yeah, we're still surviving. We do okay. You stick around to the Treasury Report. I mean, we went from maybe a couple of hundreds of dollars. I think we're navigating a corrupt system fairly well. But I also would say that the reason that is in Oakland, and this is from just feedback that I've gotten from discussions after our actual in-person events and all that. Yeah, people don't care about the anger. They're frustrated too. They know it's
Yeah.
a state of emergency. They know, they walk by it every day. They know what the fuck is happening. Ain't nobody, if anyone else doesn't know what's happening, it's because they're just choosing not to, or they're still benefiting from the current corrupt system really well, so they don't want to change it because they know it means it's gonna, again, sorry, your CEO, you're not getting your bonus. All right. So, but anyway.
And another question, you say you're the fundraising coordinator?
Yes.
So you'll be able to help with the fundraisers or whatever, or how would that work?
I am completely swamped with keeping up with the Oakland Greens. So I'm the treasurer, fundraising, and I produce all the events, trying to find speakers and all that stuff too. So I'm trying to think if I can think of anyone who is up there. But now, if you're talking about like, so we have this Zoom account. If you need an account to host an event and you have somebody contact me, I definitely can coordinate with someone from your staff. And I mean, it can go, we have, again, a professional account, so you can have as many people as you want and as long as you want. So I definitely can help that. I can help with promotion as well. If somebody sends me.
That's what I need. We're going to be friends.
We can
We're going to be friends.
put them out on all our social media. And like I said, we do get a fairly modest amount of people to get it out there. And like I said, even though when I said, oh, our events hadn't been attended this particular season, we've been doing this for 5 years and they've always done really well. And in fact, I shouldn't say that. So so far, probably half of 2 haven't, and 1 sold out and the other ones did good. So I'm like, I'm probably just being overly critical. But anyway, so yes, we can definitely support is that. I can't take on the responsibility of being another fundraising coordinator, but I can definitely help promote and publish anything.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Well, thank you again and good luck. And,
okay.
Moving on. So for the, you're more than welcome to stay or not. Like I said, if you have another event. For the Oakland Greens that are here. So I also have a more deep dive that is about 10 minutes long of that movie. We have, also to discuss if you want to watch that, but also discuss, sorry, I accidentally muted myself. The big event I want to do for 2025 is actually a forum on AI. And so, you know what that means is probably still having to some sort of compensate, using that as a carrot to get someone to show up who is knowledgeable, which of course I would do, and or other people can bring suggestions as well. Because I think that is going to, here in the next 5 years, really start to take over. I bet we're going to see a lot of jobs and things being lost to it. That's my first guess. And of course, anyone who's watched any movies in the 80s know that artificial intelligence deems us unnecessarily and just kills us all off. So, and again, have discussion on it this time or save it for next. Hearing, seeing none. Moving on, the next one is the county council report back. Greg, Orlando, I assume you were both there. Could you give us a summary of what happened, any action items that we should know about for the recording?
Well, we have our usual Green Sunday, so it's going to be about transitioning from a war economy to renewable energy. There's a guy that wrote a book called From Warheads to Windmills. He's going to be the speaker for the second Sunday of next month, 5 o'clock. We'll get out an announcement around the end of this month. And we talked a bit about outreach and tabling, and people mentioned the mime troupe. So as always, mime troupe starts on 4th of July, and we'll start off in Berkeley a few days after the 4th of July. I think Oakland is in August, but you know, around the 4th of July, maybe a little before that, we'll send out a schedule and then people can sign up for doing outreach. And I think as usual, there'll be 2 Oakland shows. So the mime troupe, I guess, will be the big outreach of the summer. And I think that's most of it, I think.
What was the topic last Green Sunday, last week?
Oh, it was a video. We showed a video, a speaker about Zionism. And we talked about, of course, the situation in Gaza.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what my rant was about. Nice, okay. Anything else on county council?
I think that Mind Troop is gonna be a great networking event this year.
Yeah, it always is.
Yeah, I love they little event. So I think that, and I think that should lead on to when we have the Solano stroll, when we get ready to gear for that, have people gearing up for that movement. So I'm excited for this year though.
Yeah, I'm sad that I had to miss it this year. But yeah, but yes, they're always really, really fun events. I always have a good time. Especially the Mime Troop, and that usually gets a good draw of people out as well. I mean, as far as like support, actual Green Party members come out. Yeah, usually because there's wine. They'll come out for the show and wine and cheese. But yeah, the Mime Troop, usually their shows usually really great as well. Love the Mime Troop. Almost volunteered to be their truck driver, almost. Anything else on county council? Hearing and seeing none.
Oh, wait, I got one.
Okay.
I almost forgot. I made an announcement. It wasn't an action item, but it was an announcement that the National Green Party is going to have its presidential nominating convention in August. And of course, Jill Stein has now lined up enough delegates around the country to be the nominee. But in order for the official process to happen, they have to have enough delegates from each state to represent the allocated delegation. And California, of course, biggest population, most number of Greens, well, we get the most number of delegates. So we get 56 delegates. That means that we have to have online, it's going to be online. I think it's on a Saturday in mid-August. We have to have 56 California Greens online for 3 hours on a Saturday morning at the presidential nominating convention to cast all of our votes. So I sent out a message, I don't know, 10 or 12 days ago. I'll resend it this coming week. But if you can make it Saturday morning, maybe a little bit of the afternoon, it's Saturday in mid-August. Please volunteer, because, to get 56 Greens around California, we're going to need everybody to help out if you can. Over.
Absolutely. Yep, go ahead, Orlando, please.
If you do, try to register early now, or if you don't have no financial, you can try to hit the hardship so you don't have to pay if you don't have the finance.
That is great that they started, no one turned away for lack of funds. That was if that's something out of Oakland, right? That's us. That's fucking us, man. Fucking that's us did that. Brought that up at the state meeting and everything else. Y'all need to stop. And I also had said I was going to keep it to myself, but it never happens. Too, they're like, oh, you want to get more people, especially loving to go in person, because there are Green Party members that have money and could be delegates. Make it entertaining. Like I told them, well, the one that the California state did, again, shameless plug to Oakland. Why'd they all come? Because fucking we were doing the fucking music and the pre-show. We did this, and everyone that fucking raved about it. Absolutely, right? Gotta fucking make it fun. It's gotta be fun and sexy, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of the fucking in-your-face politics too. Yeah, don't get me started, because it just goes on and on. So thank you. Yes, and I will just piggyback on what Greg says, going into facilitator mode. Please come out. If you're registered Green, do it. Actually, again, even the online ones can be pretty fun. I suggest going to the event, being online and listening, and then get on your own social media and broadcast it live And that way you can still have commentary. You won't disrupt the meeting and you can still give your own ideas and off to, to other fellow Greens. So please, yeah, well, I'll look for that email. And of course, actually what I can do is copy and paste it onto our webpage and send it through our social media as well. So, anything else now on county council? Third go round, anything? Hearing, seeing none. Okay, Treasury report back for the Oakland Greens. Our business checking out of the Provident Credit Union is $1,240.99. The Green Savings account also for Provident is $205.86. And then our BMO account, which switched from Bank of the West and now is way easier. The reason we left no longer, so we're still keeping it, is $254 even, but only $249 available. You have to keep $1. And in the business savings, you have to keep $5. So there's actually $210.86 is the actual balance, but only $205 available. We don't have any expenses at the moment. Tomorrow out of BMO account, actually, we will have $149, which will be the Zoom account renewal. I will then on our next, after movie night, I will take that money and deposit it into BMO too. So that pretty much BMO's function will be to keep the Zoom account active. Because even when we do in-person events, I still want to keep like some sort of hybrid as long as we have good internet in the facilities that we're at. Because even though people, I agree with what Greg said way earlier, that online, they want to get out more into open now that the pandemic is just, we're here to stay. I also still think that there are people who have disabilities, and sorry, I'm sharing the video on Instagram, have disabilities that also still use the Zoom. So I think the hybrid is a way to go. I think it is sort of here to stay. And I haven't actually, I didn't actually check it, but rarely, most of our donations come from Eventbrite, from doing the events and just mail in. The PayPal account hasn't changed, but it was like, I think it was a couple $100 in that one as well, but I just never touched it, bother with it. So any questions on Treasury? Hearing, seeing none. Next, social media. Well, as he crosses his arms. So on the Oakland Greens account, let me go back live again. Whoops, sorry. No dead space. There we go. On the Oakland Greens account, got into a discussion about the Israel-Hamas war as well, and got fairly passionate about it, as I am apt to be. One of the main premises was that not calling the premise, but I think that what's happening to them amounts to like a muafa, like to a genocide. And the person that I was in with did not feel that to be true. So that got into a very heated argument. I'm like, well, once you start taking away generations of children that won't go on to procreate their bloodlines and their ethnic, I said it's like the indigenous people here of the where you're just going to have an extinction of an actual ethnicity of people. What do you call that? Like I was like, was the Holocaust one? So got really, really well. I'm like, you can always, again, look at it on social media. It was pretty good, and I'll always stand by that statement as well. I mean, it's very much, and our belief on that too, is that the people, just the regular people on both sides, are just sick of the fucking violence, right? Fuck your agenda, fuck the two governments, and again, Zionists, your radical beliefs, you got no more time for it, right? Babies are dying, right? They just don't want it. And it's, yeah, too much. Any questions? Hearing seen, have to wait till, yeah, Orlando will be back. Next, one is outreach. As was said too, we have the mime troupe, coming up. For me, every moment is a step to outreach. I wear Oakland greens and Green Party shirts out, especially in summertime where, you know, it's really nothing but the places, and I'm always, you know, letting that out to be heard. And of course, my car, which is a Green Party banner by itself. I don't think there's really anything else, like, excuse me, that we have planned other than our events or outreach. And seeing, hearing none. Are there any announcements? Hearing, seeing none. We'll still hang out, but I will stop the recorded portion of this meeting. I'm Vicente Cruz, Oakland Greens Event and Fundraising Coordinator, and you have just watched, or will watch later, the June public business meeting. Thank you very much, and we will see you at movie nights, World of Warcraft. And you can get all of the movie nights and what we'll be talking about in our discussion series, which is tomorrow on education, at oaklandgreens.org events. Peace.